So, in the ongoing discussions regarding computer networks, and we are today we will be discussing network troubleshooting tools. As the name indicates, it is always desirable that our network should work without any error and without any conflict, without any kind of data loss. And if there is error regarding any trouble with the network, then definitely our work will stand still, and definitely we will have to look for the various tools which will first try to locate, to detect the cause of the problem, and then ultimately correct these errors by any of the ways and means that are being advised by some people, advanced professional people from time to time. So, naturally in our objectives we must have one thing in very much clear, that what actually do we want to do while trying to troubleshoot the network. So, our objectives should be describe the elements of an effective troubleshooting methodology, that what methodology we want to use, and what are the various elements or the points which we need to use to effectively implement that methodology. Then we need to follow a systematic troubleshooting process to solve the networking problem, because the networking problem cannot be a hodgepodge kind of thing or a hit and trial kind of thing. It should be a systematic process through which we need to follow some steps, we need to correct some measures, we need to set some parameters, or we need to set some things right with the help of some hardware tools and all that. And we must use a variety of software and hardware tools to diagnose the problems. Then and lastly we can have that we should discuss practical issues related to the troubleshootings. So, sometimes some people may advise some troubleshooting processes, but which may not be practical feasible to implement those into the real life issues. So, we need to have a look on this kind of arrangement that these should be practically implementable. So, broadly we can have two types of you can say methodologies, one which are related to hardware and the other which are related to software. So, we may have some kind of tools which we need to use to correct the things, or to use in the troubleshooting process. For example, in hardware we may use a CRO, we may use a multimeter, we may use another other you can say tools or the devices, so that we can actually correct the things. Similarly, we can have a that our RJ45 is not fixed to a proper position, or our wire is not up to the mark, or there is a bent, or there is a crack. So, those things which are need to be checked and corrected using hardware repair or replacement kind of things. And then second one is the software, that are basically related to the parameters which auto resetting and like that kind of thing, which may result into a some kind of bottleneck due to congestion control, which may be some uncertainty regarding certain values, or the you can say some you can say the limitations of the variables and all that. So, these related errors which are need to be looked after by the software, and they need professional kind of programmers or the software experts which will try to troubleshoot the things to set the network right. So, while discussing a troubleshooting methodology, we must first of all identify the various symptoms. What are the basic symptoms that the system provides us, so that we can have an first hand idea about what kind of problem can be, and it will definitely we will try to ascertain whether it is a hardware related or a software related. If hardware related, to which part of the hardware, and if it is software related, to which part of the network, whether it is a local problem, global problem, it is a you can say temporary problem or a permanent, and all that kind of things. Then we must identify the scope of the problem, that what is the scope, how much part of the system is affected. Then we will have to try to establish what has changed, what the things have been changed, so that we can ascertain that what are the basic parameters, what are the devices, what are the variables which can result into such a kind of change. Then we will determine most probable cause, what causes that thing to happen. So that is also an important kind of you can say thing that we must keep in mind. We definitely must know what kind of what can be the cause. From a handful of you can say causes, we will have to narrow down to or one or two specific causes that has resulted in the shutting down of the network. Then we will have to, under this most probable cause, we will have to verify the user competency, whether it was a competency lacking of the user part, or it should, will have to recreate the problem. We will have to ascertain that how it can happen. We will have to verify if the we will repeat the on the things on the same other system. Then we will have to ascertain the exact cause of the problem that resulted into the downing of the network. Then we will have to verify the physical connectivity, whether all the components have been physically connected, or there is some logical disconnectivity is there, that things are not working as desired due to some other problems than the physical. Then first of all, if we are discussing that, we will have to identify the systems. Then we will have to access to the network affected, that what kind of network is affected. Network performance is also affected. The system is working, but is working at a slow pace, or it is not working at all. So data or the program affected, what are the various data or programs which have affected, and if they are affected, what are the various then softwares which are using these programs, and what are the applications which are using these softwares. And ultimately we will have to narrow down to our search to a particular program or a data or set of commands or hardware devices that are basically have caused this kind of effect. Only certain network services affected. Now whether this is a collapse of the whole system, or it has resulted into a that some services have been stopped, some services are not giving a result as desirable. Then we will have to, if programs are affected, does the problem include one local application, one network, as I already discussed. So we will have to ascertain whether this is a local problem or it is a global kind of thing, or it is a temporary or a permanent one, it is due to power failure, or it is due to some specific device has gone out of the way, or what are the specific error messages. So what are the specific error messages that user has reported. Those error messages will result into the better diagnosis of a problem, and ultimately the solution for that kind of problem. So one user or there are multi users affected. So this is again the same kind of thing, that whether the single user has been affected, or it is a global kind of thing, and more than one users are affected by this kind of error or the failure. Then we will have to identify the scope of problem. So it is a one user or workstation, it is a work group, it is a department, it is an organization, or one location in an organization, or the whole organization. So this will definitely take us to the scope of the problem, and then corresponding solution can be advised. Then we will have to, when did the problem begin. We must know the following parameters. When did the problem begin? Has the network, server or workstation ever worked properly? No, this is a new problem, or this problem is being caused by the system from the very start of this you can say this process or application. So did the symptoms appear in the last hour or a day? So what new things have taken place? What were those things which you can say were new to the system, and probably they must have caused that kind of failure in the system. So we must have a to go back to the history of the events to ascertain that what kind of things that must have brought to the system to that level. So have the symptoms appeared intermittently or for a long time, or you can have you have the you can say history of getting those kind of warning messages, all that. Do the systems appear only at a certain times? If the things work at some of the time, this means that the system is not showing indication of failure each time, but it is only when certain kind of programs are running or certain data is being fed into the system. So that kind of things you can say will take us to the conclusion that what kind of the problem can be. So, the problems which are listed here are that what kind of problems can occur and what kind of you can say tools we can use. So, some clients cannot connect to the server. So, if this is the cause, you can say this is the you can say symptom that some clients cannot connect to the server. This means then ARP, that is address resolution protocol, or IP configuration, or NB status, net status, network monitor, net lookup, or path ping, port query, telnet client, window network diagnostic. So, these can have any kind of problem, because if client is cannot connect to the server, these can be the causes, and we will have to check for various parameters, various settings, various monitoring systems, various lookup tables, various we will have to ping the system, and all that we will have to check for telnet kind of intrusion that must have taken place from a remote intrusion server, or like that can be hacking also. So, no client can connect to the server. If nobody can connect to the server, and this means then IP configuration, network monitor, port query, and these other above mentioned you can say tools need to be ascertained. Now, clients cannot connect to the shared resources. It is working, but they cannot use the shared resources. Then means the problem may be identified by using the mentioned tools, that is IP configuration, NB stat, net lookup, network monitor, port query, and all that. Clients cannot connect to the network, then we need to go for IP configuration, window network, or diagnostics. Network performance is poor or unpredictable. Sometimes it becomes fast, sometimes it becomes slow. Then on the following you can say performance monitor, we will have to check our path ping, resource monitor, or task manager. So, this means your task manager is how much resources of the processor are being used by the processes which are running at that time, that point of time. So, we need to ascertain that what kind of you can say indications are there, and approximately we will have to just narrow down to our search that what kind of problem can be. And if we are just going in the dark, we cannot we will not able to make a certain, because there are so many things on the network which are related to hardware, which are related to software, in software also which part and which it is at your end, it is at your ISP's end, or it is at the gateway end. And so, this is very difficult to manage the things if we are not going in a you can say proper planned and systematic process. So, that as discussed, so we must have to identify network user problem first. The problem will just start from this very thing that we must identify a user or network problem, that what the problem is basically. Then we will have to gather the data, or if we need to modify that data, we will have to modify it to set the things right. Then we will propose a possible solution. There are number of solutions for a problem, but which solution we are proposing. If that works, test possible solution. If solution resolves the problem, yes, then this means we will have to document the problem solution, so that if anything occurs in the future also, we will have to go back to our document and get the problem solved. But no, then we will have to modify our data, then propose a new solution, and ultimately test the solution, and the things go on repeating unless we find a solution to our problem. And ultimately we will have a you can say set of a document that will identify day to day problems, and ultimately we will try to resolve those problems for future reference. So, now this is how you can say how layered models such as OSI reference model or TCP models are used for troubleshooting. So, basically in this OSI system, transport and network layer, these are basically are concerned with the problem which the network faces these days. And similarly, in TCP IP, transport and internet protocol layer, these are the two layers which are very much in trouble whenever a network you can say has gone fail, or some kind of performance of the network goes low. Then we will have to look out for the routing, we will have to check for the settings, IP addresses conflict or intrusion from some part of the network, or the bottlenecks, or the some devices failures also. So, we will have to check or ascertain that these two layers are working properly. So, if we are trying to describe the 3 stages of a general troubleshooting process, so this is also again we can have a gather in symptoms, then we will have to isolate the problem. We will identify the problem one by one. If the system is causing more than one problems, more problems, then we will have to isolate the problems. We will have to take all the problems one by one, and ultimately if we will have to gather the symptoms for that particular problem, we will have to isolate the problem, we will have to correct the problem, and if another problem arises as a result of the correction, we will have to again then check for. Sometimes we propose a solution and that solution may cause another problem to the system. So, then we will have to check for those kind of symptoms, and ultimately we will have to propose a new you can say solution to the problem. So, this process goes on until unless we are rectifying the old problems and as well as the new problems. So, troubleshooting tools, if we are discussing troubleshooting tools, then crossover cable used directly to the interconnect two nodes. Sometimes we need to use a crossover cable, that we will have to bypass certain set of components, so that we will have to ascertain that this means that that particular set of the components may cause problems. So, they are heating up, or they may not be working properly, they are having a delay in their output, or they are not performing up to their present desirable level. Or we will have to have a tone generator. Sometimes we we generate a tone and feed it to the system, and ultimately try to that what kind of effect it causes. And a tone locator also, we will try to check from the system that what kind of tone is being you can say measured from that particular component. If that is up to the mark, it is working properly. If it is deviating from a you can say it's a standard kind of outputs, then we need to certain that those devices should be replaced or at least repaired to get the proper you can say output at that particular component, or at that part of a particular motherboard or that device hardware. So, tone generator is a small electronic device that issue a signal on a wire pair. So, we will have to sometimes we generate a tone from our side to ascertain that whether that particular part or component is working properly or not. The tone locator is a device that emits a tone when it detects electrical activity on the wire pair. If we are not feeding the we are not expecting that component to detect electrical activity, but that component is giving electrical activity. This means some kind of short circuit is there, and the things are not going in the desirable way. So, we need to check and correct the things accordingly. So, this is you can say troubleshooting tool that is being tone generator, that we can generate a tone for a particular set of wires. Or on the other side we are having a tone locator, which is being identifying that whether there is a current in the wire, whether there is a tone in at a particular you can say joint or a particular component. So, we will have to use these both methods to when we try to generate some particular tone, or we will try to ascertain that whether that some tone is located there or not. Depending upon this, we will design a solution. Then continuing with our troubleshooting tools, that is multimeter. This is a well-known multimeter is a well-known meter which can measure many characteristics of an electric circuit, including a resistance and voltage. So, this is in the hands of every electrician in now for the last 50 years. We are in the process of seeing every electrician using multimeter. So, we definitely students have an idea that whenever we connect those wires to a particular set of two wires and we are getting the reading. So, it will be showing us whether this is open or it is a closed circuit, which device is working, which device is not working. If device is working, it is whether it is working at a desirable level, or it is just not performing up to the mark. So, then we will have to use a multimeter to verify that a cable is properly conducting electricity. If it is conducting electricity, then check for the presence of noise on a wire, then verify the amount of resistance on a coaxial cable, then the test for a short or open circuit in the wire. So, I have also come across a the kind of situation that now there are so advanced multimeters which will tell you that from this point at what distance in the on the wire there is the cable is being there is a break or not in the cable. So, you can definitely have an idea about and you can rectify that joint, and you can manage a new joint at that place and the cable will be working. So this kind of advancement is being taken place in the use of our troubleshooting tools. Then yes, this is now here comes the cable continuity tester. We will we will check the continuity of a tester. If testing continuity of a cable through testers, if it is not you can say if in troubleshooting a physical layer problem, you may find cause of problem by simply testing whether your cable is carrying a signal to its destination. Sometimes the number of problems are being you can say ascertained by just setting the hardware at their right place or replacing the hardware. So these are the general problems which can be rectified by anybody. Cable performance testers are also there. Measure a distance to the connectivity device termination point or a cable fault, measure attenuation along the cable, measure near and crosstalk between wires, or measure termination resistance and impedance. So these are the parameters which we need to ascertain that whether our system is working or properly or not. Cable performance testers continued. Now this means that we will check for cat 3 cable, cat 5 cable, cat 5e, that is enhanced version of cat 5, cat 6 or the latest cat 7 standards. We will pass them that whether they are performing, whether they are high speed cables. Now the speed of data transmission increases by the model. Cat 6 or 7 will be more faster than cat 3 or 5. So this means they should have performance testers also, whether they are performing at the desired levels or not. Store and print cable testing results directly, save data to the computer database. So now this is a process that we the system performance is being stored directly in the computer database, so that at any time you can ascertain that whether your system is working at a proper you can say level or not. So if it is not working at the level, then before the system shows a failure, complete failure, we must try to rectify the things. Graphically depict a cable's attenuation and crosstalk characteristics over the length of cable. Yes, this is what I was talking about. So you can say that what kind of cable is there, whether there is a break, whether there is a joint which is open joint. You can ascertain the length on that you can say level, and go and rectify the things. So this is also very useful tool. Then network monitors continuously monitor network traffic on the segment, capture network data transmitted on a segment. So now there are network monitors are available. At any point of time you can ascertain that how many you can say data was entered to that segment, and what kind of data have been you can say transmitted by that segment. So capture frames sent to and from a specific node, reproduce network conditions, generate statistics about the network activity. So we do have standards, and if the our output or the input is being deviated from the standards, we need to rectify that segment. So this is very useful tool, that is a network monitors. They will ascertain that whether your segment nodes are working properly or not, or they need a certain kind of you can say corrections, then those corrections are being taken up. So this is that what kind of tool is there, that is ARP, that is address resolution protocol, that will be used. It will display and clear the address resolution protocol cache, which affects communication with hosts and local network. So we need user administrators can use this tool, and the description is that it is operating system based or a command line based thing. You can use this tool to set the things right when your local networks or hosts are not working properly. So IP configurations, that displays network configuration, information about the local computer, requests a new dynamically assigned IP addresses, manages domain name, DNS, client resolve cache, and register new DNS records. Now these are the basic problems that are basically coming across of a network. So we do have some kind of configuration about how the system is working. We should have that what kind of IP addresses are being assigned, whether there is a IP conflict between two users, what are the DNS systems, whether there is some new DNS is causing the problems or not. So these are being taken care of by tool that is use IP config, with which we can always configure our internet protocol, so that the values assigned to them should not conflict with one another. So here also user or administrators depending on the commands used, and it is also operating system based or a command line based tool. You can use it from the command line, or you can use in working in the operating system. NP lookup, that is also a that is you can say tests the Windows Internet naming services, that how you are naming the things, whether you are taking care of the prescribed standards or not. So this can be at any time used by users. So free download command line, you can have a access to the, you can say, this internet naming services, with which you can always have an access to the what are the standards while you are using for naming your files, naming your DNS and all that. Net state, that is the net status that displays detailed information about open connections. So what kind of your network is having a statistics about, so that those all connections which are used or not used will be displayed in detail. Root displays the or modify the local computer's IP routing tables, which is primarily useful when multiple gateways are on the local network. So we will use this kind of tracers and all that tools to trace out the whether that route is particularly performing at the desired level or not. Then task manager, we are generally using this task manager. It will quickly determine current network utilization. It will identify the processes that are using the network. At any time in Windows, you can always start task manager. If your system is slow, you can always use a task manager, and you can see on that very point what are the processes which are being used, what are the processes which are taking maximum time of the processor. You can stop those processes, and you will easily, you must have an experience of doing this in your day to day working, that you will, once you stop that process which is causing a conflict, the system will work as normal, and it will identify processes that are consuming processor time. So those conflicts can be regulated or ultimately stopped by discontinuing with some of the processes, and or continuing with that some other time. Then telnet client, this is also another tool which is also used, identifies the availability. Now this is a tool also, telnet is a tool also to rectify the problem, but it is also a tool which is most widely used by the hackers, because with telnet you can correct a system by sitting at a remote location. At the same time, with telnet you can corrupt a system by sitting at the remote you can say location. So this is the tool which is mostly used by both the professionals, the you can say responsible ones, and also to the anti-socials ones also. So they are identify the availability of the network services from a client that does not have the port query installed. So where port query is not installed, then this telnet will work freely, and this tool is an optional feature and is not installed by default. So telnet is a useful tool also, it is a hacker's tool also. So this works in both way. This is a reverse fires also. This means you can say this ping, you can always you must have the experience of using ping. So if we are ping the system, your network, if it is timeout, then this means your network is not working properly, and if it is showing something, so this means it is responding well. Then this tracer route is there, telnet, netstat, ARP, and IP config. These are the tools which we have discussed just. Ping, the ping sends ICMP echo request to host and asks for a reply. Reply time is also returned. So this means when some hosts may choose not to reply by security policy, it may not mean that they are down. So sometimes they don't want to communicate to the unauthorized people. So Stanford deprioritize pings at some of our borders. So a long ping time or a dropped pings does not indicate a poor connection. Stanford maintains a special host, ping.me stanford.edu, exempt from ping filter. Have outside users ping.me if they claim that the connection to the Stanford are unavailable for slow. So they will indicate this kind of in Stanford. They don't have they do not recognize each unauthorized person. So they will send this kind of messages. This is a specific reply for a ping. So pinging 12700 with 32 bits, and if it is giving something to you, reply from this, by it's how much time it is taking to reply. So that is the performance of the system. And if it is not, that is in the lower part, it is timeout. Reply from 140 destination host unreachable and request timed out. So this means there is a problem with your ISP, and you need to correct the things from that end. There is no problem with your local network. So we will have to go for that kind of arrangement. Nmap scanning nets. In addition to ping scans, you can have scan for open ports to the host. Nmap is that is network map. This will display you all the processes that this can be useful for seeing who is running a service unintentionally or otherwise. At the any time you will have an idea about that whosoever is working on the system and the network. With that you will have you can say the whether users are intentional or non-intentional, whether they are authorized or unauthorized, legal or illegal. You can always have that kind of array.